Accident at the hairpin at La Source. It was tagged by another car. Andrew shaken, sore, but okay, and is back at the circuit. He wasn't the only one in trouble though, because Thomas Jaeger was tapped into a spin by Stefano Ortelli's Audi as they went up towards Les Combes, and that started problems for Ortelli with damage that became greater and greater. Not as bad though as Nicolas Meyer-Melnhof, who destroyed his Lamborghini coming into the pit lane, as on track Christian Menzel's Porsche battled with the Audi of Andrea Piccini. Piccini was later tagged into a spin by the rather uncooperative Porsche, the Fabio Spergi coming through the bus stop, and then a big engine failure put the 24 Lamborghini of Mark Hayek, the Blancpain boss, and Peter Cox and Jos Menton out of the race, and that meant that Hans Reiter's team had lost both of its cars within the first 2 hours. There was woe also for the Richard Westbrook Christian Menzel Porsche that needed an alternator change, and the pendulum swung in favour of Audi, as from Team Phoenix there was the car in the lead, and in second place for WRT, Greg Franchi's car up into second spot. Other Audis weren't so lucky. Eddie Cheever, a retirement, for example, for United Autosports, he parked the car at the pit exit lane as the 99 leading car of Mark Bassing, Christopher Hasse and Frank Stippler continued to build its lead as the cars race into the night. Conditions that could caught out many. One of those drivers that was caught out, Jack Gerber, ran off the road through the gravel, bounced off the tyres and was able to rejoin. And when the safety car came out with cars in dangerous places around the circuit, United Autosports took the chance to put the Audi of Johnny Herbert into the garage and try and trace a curious intermittent electrical misfire that was becoming ever more of a problem. Gradually, those errant cars were retrieved, including the GDL Racing Porsche, but when the race got back underway, it wasn't long before the next incident happened. Mike Hazelman's Mercedes crashed against the barrier, bounced back onto the road, but with a broken steering arm, it was going no further. Then Thomas Duchesne had a big lose and lots of damage was done to his Ferrari. The car continued, but is now retired with a gearbox failure. With the fireworks overhead, the cars raced on towards midnight, and it was during the night that we lost the leading number 99 Audi after a big crash. We lost Lamborghini, we'd already lost McLaren's, and in the early hours of the morning, we lost Mercedes as well. Mike Parisi parking his Graf racing car with damage to a wheel rim. Through it all, though, has come the 33 Audi. It took the lead at the 10-hour mark, and it's still up front now. Timo Scheider, Matthias Ekstrom and Greg Franchi, the three drivers, the car for the Belgian Audi club, leading the way, and now with a margin of 3 laps over the opposition. Timo Scheider, however, was being held up on occasions in traffic and getting very frustrated about some of the driving standards. There was more frustration for one of the fancy teams, Vita 4-1. They put Louis Machiels into the car. Andrea Bertolini not happy with the way the car was in his stint. Ferrari engineers came to have a look at the problem, but in so doing there was a pit infringement, and the net result of that was a drive-through penalty for the number 2 Ferrari. Louis Machiels took it over, turned in some good lap times, but that was only the start of the story. In second place had come the BMW Z4. Edward Sandstrom had done a good job in that, gave way to Dirk Werner. Claudia Hürtgen, the third driver of that car, and he is still well placed, running in second spot, trying to close the gap to the 33 Audi. Number 4 Aston Martin was up into third place, having started from the pit lane, but its battle with the number 2 Ferrari was soon to come to an end. The drive-through penalty being applied for Louis Machiels for the pit stop infringement, but the radio had gone down. He didn't get the message. Eventually, despite using pit bulls from other cars, the car did pit, but it was too late. It had gone past the drive-through penalty board 3 times. That meant a black flag and exclusion. The team felt it was rather hard done by. It was not that they didn't want to do the pit stop, they were all busy trying to get the car in, but with the radio having failed, there was just no other way of communicating with Machiels. It took a long time to get the message across. Andrea Bertolini's face said it all. With its healthy advantage, the Audi team was able to put the car in the garage and do not only a driver change, but also a disc and pad change. It was trying to sweep up in the garage. The Jack Gerber, though, more problems. A punctured tyre, the wheel coming off, the tyre coming off the wheel rim, and as the Ferrari limped back, it fell briefly out of the top 10. So 33, Greg Franchi at the wheel, continues to lead the 24 hours of Spa. We're into the final 2 hours of what has been an intriguing race, and still there is more to come. It's Audi, Mercedes and BMW battling within the top 3. The Audi number 32 here in 4th place. The car lost time last night when the contact between Stefano Ortelli and Thomas Jaeger's Mercedes became ever more serious, and about half an hour was lost, so it fell way down the order. But some good stints today by Ortelli, Felipe Albuquerque and Bert Langin has brought the car back up into 4th place. Now it is 11 laps down on the race leader, but even so it is still pushing on, and a podium may come their way. You never know, because now it is on the same lap as the 35 Mercedes, so there's a battle developing now for third and for fourth places. Also in the last couple of hours we've had a stop-go penalty for number 29, the surviving Vita 4-1 Ferrari. That was for a tyre infringement using non-regulation tyres. So 29, Matteo Bobbi at the wheel, has now dropped into 5th place. And the other great battle that's been raging on all day is 6th and 7th overall, but also importantly the lead now of the Pro-Am Cup, helped by the demise of the number 2 Vita 4-1 Ferrari. But effectively it's the number 20 Sofrev Ferrari now in the hands of Guillaume Moreau versus Mike Jordan driving the number 90 Prezi Spark Mercedes. That's the best British crew as well. It's Mike Jordan and the Jones twins, David and Godfrey. That's the second place car you're looking at, Claudia Hürtgen at the wheel of the BMW Z4, the same type of car that took pole position in the hands of Maxime Martin, run by Mark VDS Racing. This car, however, run by Need for Speed Team Schubert, and Claudia Hürtgen now running 3 laps down on the leader, Greg Franchi. But it has been an impressive run, that's for sure. And with now under 2 hours to go, very hard, you go back to the race history to find any real problem for that. Touching wood, can it survive unscathed to the end? All they've done is refuel it, change discs and pads, put new drivers in it, put new tyres on the car, but it's been a very impressive run indeed. Claudia Hürtgen, who's got a GT background going back to the mid-1990s, threading her way now through the traffic. Edward Sandstrom and Dirk Werner, the other 2 drivers in this car, running in the Pro Cup, which, as the name suggests, is purely for the professional drivers. But you also got the Pro-Am competition to look for, the Gentleman Trophy Cup class, the older spec Porsches and Ferraris within the Gentleman Trophy, and GT4, that's being led by the Jordan Tresson, Alex Bunk and Chris Ward Nissan. The Mansell brothers and Eduardo Piscopo were leading that until around about 9 o'clock this morning, when an oil leak became a fire, became a retirement, and put the Lotus Evora out of the race. Claudia Hürtgen now starting to close a little bit onto the tail of Guillaume Moreau. Now Moreau lapping at the moment, not quite as quickly, having just taken over that car, as the Mercedes and Mike Jordan has taken back the class lead. So the Pro-Am Cup battle, seesawing between the two, it's going to go right down to the wire, that, depending on who pits when within the last stint. 65 minutes being the maximum you can go on a tank of fuel these days under the regulations. There's something flapping, I think, on the right hand side of the second place BMW Z4 there, just turning towards La Source. Is it anything serious? Doesn't look to be. This is the car that's running a very impressive third, the Kenneth Heyer driven Mercedes. Kenneth, who's, well, the Hans Heyer, a very successful touring car racer in his own right, 3 times a winner indeed at the Spa 24 Hours, and in 3 different types of car. The 5 and 6 Series BMW he won it in, one of each, and also driving with the late Tom Walkinshaw in the Jaguar XJS in Hans Heyer. And Kenneth, after experience of Bell car racing and the GT3 European Championship, also the long distance VLN races these days, he's done a very good job in that car. Stefan Lemray, the Belgian journalist, who always manages to find a drive in the Spa 24 Hours, not surprisingly, and generates lots of coverage for the team he drives for. He's the third driver of that car, but really it's Thomas Jaeger, the former DTM racer for Mercedes, who has done the bulk of the driving and indeed has been the quickest of the 3. So the Mercedes then running at the moment in 3rd place, and it has just done 490 laps, and it's being chased by 32, which is now Felipe Albuquerque at the wheel, and that is on the same lap, albeit there's quite a gap now between the 2 cars. Now for the Audi Sport Team Phoenix squad, they started with 2. They had 99 leading the race very comfortably, going at just past midnight, and then a big accident. Christopher Haas crashed out. The surviving car, 98, has got Marcel Fasser at the wheel. It's the one ahead, in fact, on track of the Mercedes you're looking at, and that had a big gearbox drama last night and lost a lot of time. Number 4 Hexis car in 12th place, Fred Makovici at the wheel, and having had a very lengthy pit stop with power steering problems a little while ago, that car has fallen a long way down, as I say, from the top 3 into 12th place. And Steph Dusseldorp can explain more about the team's woes. He is in the pit lane with Haley Coxon.
Steph, can you explain what's going on with the car?
I had a small collision with one of the Audis from United Motorsports. He was blue flagged, but I thought he gave me some space. He made the corner, we hit, not really hard, nothing special. 40 minutes after, I started having some smoke and some liquid on my windscreen, and problem was the power steering gave up, and they fixed it, but now we're back on P12, I think. Too bad.
Thank you.
It is P12, and it means the car now is 24 laps down on the race leader. So when we heard from the team boss, Philippe Dumas, earlier on in the day, he was saying just to get to the finish now is a real bonus, because they've never done a race of this length. The team, each hour is completed, it's another learning element for them. Stefan Ortelli there, talking to Wolfgang Ulrich. And the car that Stefan Ortelli drives, number 32, with Philippe Albuquerque at the wheel now. As I say, it's on the same lap as the Mercedes we've been looking at. It's within a minute then, and is lapping quicker, so the gap is coming down and down between third and fourth. Now, there you can see the 32 Audi dropping downhill towards Pouin. Philippe Albuquerque doing a very good job here, and the car, which was way down in 22nd place yesterday evening after the time was lost, has battled back. It can't really make up the lost laps, but it is gaining places. It's 12 laps off the lead car, the sister car, but a podium for both of the Belgian Audi Club entries, TWRT, would be a great result. Bert Langin, I think, has done his stint now, so it's going to be Philippe Albuquerque possibly to even bring the car to the end. Stefan Ortelli may get one more stint out of it, but Bert Langin has been in the media centre for a little while, talking to the Belgian journalists, not looking like a man that's eager to get back into the car. Past one of the many stricken cars around the circuit comes now Philippe Albuquerque, goes past Mike Parussi's Mercedes, and Philippe, who raced in Formula Renault 2 litre and 3.5, Race of Champions winner. He's raced in Superstars, in A1 GP, and first came into GT racing 2 years ago with one of these Audis in the Italian Championship, and goes very well indeed. And he, Stefan Ortelli and Bert Langin make a very good combination of drivers. Now, the last lap the car did was a 2:23.8. Across the line has just gone Thomas Jaeger, and he now is doing 2:23s. This is the Mercedes you're looking at, but now leads the Pro-Am Cup. It's Team Prezi Spark, and it's Mike Jordan at the wheel, and the car is now up into 6th place. Now, with the Sofra Ferrari having pitted, it's gone back into the lead of the class. It's Mike Jordan and the Jones twins, David and Godfrey, and this is how Pro-Am Cup looks at the moment. The Joneses and Jordan lead in the Mercedes from the number 20 Ferrari, and then in third spot now is 888 Richard Westbrook, Christian Menzel, Mike Sturzberg and Hans-Guido Riegel in the Olaf Manthey run Porsche, which led outright early on in the race. And then it's Ferrari, BMW and Mercedes to round out the top 6, as into the pit lane comes 33, then Greg Franchi gets out, Timo Scheider gets in, and this should be now Timo Scheider through to the end in that car, I would propose. So the man that started looks like he's going to be the man that finishes, and this car has just gone like clockwork. So for Audi Sport Team WRT, the Belgian Audi Club, the 33 Audi pits, and there is the second placed BMW, Claudia Hürtgen, having had quite a long stint in the car since the mid-morning, going very strongly. There was a short stint by Dirk Werner. Claudia Hürtgen took over and has done a long stint behind the wheel of the car now. For 33, it's going to be new tyres. It's the full service here. New driver, fuel and new tyres, and with 2-part pit stops. In other words, you can do the fuel and the drivers as one part, but you can't do any other work. That means that only now can the 2 mechanics, all that's permitted under the regulations, work their way around each of the 4 corners and do the tyre change. Now it's 3 laps between the leading Audi you're looking at and the second placed BMW. That gap will come down a little while we've got the leading car in the pit lane like this, of course, with an hour and 3/4 of the race to go. We've never in the history of the 24 hours had an outright win for an Audi. BMW has won many a time. Now what's happening for 33? It goes and then it's told to stop, and it looks as though they just want to make sure there's nothing caught in the radiator at the front. So the mechanic is happy. Is the team manager happy? Yes, he is. Now he lets the car go. Okay, a few seconds lost, but when you've got a 3-lap lead, neither here nor there, is it? So better to be safe than sorry. The car making its way now back into the race. Timo Scheider at the wheel. Claudia Hürtgen still storming on in the second place BMW. The car that was at the end of the first hour of the race down in 21st place. Now in terms of the cumulative pit stop times, you can see on the caption there, the leading Audi has spent the best part of over a minute less in the pits than the BMW. The third place Mercedes, an hour and 4 minutes, and an hour and 18 for number 32. That's because it spent a lot of time in the pit lane last night as they sorted out the suspension damage, but proof of the old adage of endurance racing that the car that spends the least time in the pit lane is looking good for a race win. It's borne out by the graphic there showing you who has stopped for how long in the race. the Mercedes in the hands of Mike Jordan has stopped for just 54 minutes, and that has been another car that has done a remarkably good, solid job. One of the two Mercedes that the Jones twins own. They run one in the British GT Championship, which is here, and is available for parts should they need them. And the Avon Shod Mercedes, the same tyres it runs on in the British Championship, going great guns here, up into the top 6 now. Second in the class is for the Software Autosport Promotion team, this Ferrari. Now Guillaume Morrow at the wheel of the car, and he's second in class. He's on the same lap as Mike Jordan, 19.3 seconds behind, lapping quicker. But when you consider that that car has got two very definite pro drivers and two AMs, whereas the Jones twins and Mike Jordan are all quick amateur racers. I know Mike's been in the British Touring Car Championship and won British GT, but even so, he's not perhaps as much a career driver as the two single-seater hot shoes are in the rival Ferrari. Makes the fact that the Mercedes is doing so well very impressive. New tyres going on 888 here, which Christian Menzel brought into the pit lane, the Blancpain team Porsche. Christian Menzel out of the car, so driver change affected. And that car, having got itself up into 8th place overall, is now 3rd in the Pro-Am Cup, and it could well lose that, in fact. And there, look, flames coming out of the back of the car as it goes down the pit lane. I say it could lose that, not just because of the big blaze that suddenly starts, but also because the pit stop will have cost it time, and it stops at the end of the pit lane, and there's black smoke and there's lots of flame. And it was Richard Westbrook that had just taken over the car. Now it creates a traffic jam at the end of the pit lane. There's no room for anybody to get out now, so this is a big drama. Richard Westbrook gets out of the car, but look, a traffic jam has formed and the BMW behind has got no way through. They've got to do something about getting this car out of the way. The pit lane is now completely blocked. It's at a narrow part of the circuit. They need to get the car out of the way, but now 43 losing chunks of time. It was a long way down the order anyway, but this is a disaster for anybody who wanted to come out of the pit lane, and as yet nothing's being done to move the car. So that needs a big shove, just a car's length, that's all it will take. But for now, because of the way that it's stopped at the narrowest point where there's a barrier on either side, nobody can get by. And Richard Westbrook, I think, yes, realises the problem. He's trying to push the car, get it out of the way. 43, as I say, was a long way down. So that car now is being pushed clear. And so that's the end of Richard Westbrook's race within the, last hour and 40 minutes. Pit stop looked to have gone absolutely fine. And then all of a sudden, as he goes down the pit lane, so there's a fire, and that, disappointingly, is the end of Richard's race. Now, we've also talked over the course of the last 23 hours or so about the McLarens and what sort of a checkered race it's had. Let's hear from one of the drivers, because Phil Quaife has joined me. Phil, it's not been the perfect race for McLaren, I know, but it's all part of this development progress that you're having to go through.
Of course, McLaren, well, first of all, hi, how are you?
Good, nice to see you.
Yeah, we've come this weekend. We're still very much in the development stages with the McLaren MP412C GT3, and not many manufacturers come to a major race like the Spa 24 Hours to do their development ready for their customers in 2012.
Yeah, it's all very public, isn't it, really? Because Goodwin was up here last night, so you know, we are being fairly brave doing this in full view of everybody and people watching every lap as it unfolds.
For sure, and I think, as you can see, the 60 car, which I'm driving myself with Adam Christodoulou, Glyn Geddy and Roger Wills, is still going at a great pace, and we're showing that the car is performing very well and very competitive.
What's it like to drive? I mean, I know you've driven a great variety of GT cars, but this must be the ultimate, surely.
It's fantastic to be part of the programme.
Yeah.
Driving the McLaren is something very, very special, and I've had a very enjoyment weekend and loved every minute of it, and I can say it is a great car to drive, and I don't want to be getting out of it.
When's the next race for you going to be in that? Have you not worked one out yet?
I haven't worked that out.
But it's on the shortlist, I'm sure. Big disappointment this for Richard Westbrook, isn't it? Just as you walk through the door, we saw the car go up in flames, and poor old Richard, it's been one of those races where he's done everything possible. But what do you reckon caused this? If you get a chance to look at this replay with us, because the pit stop was completed, the car's waved away, and then as it sets off down the pit lane, suddenly...
Well, Richard Westbrook is a good friend of mine, actually, so I'm actually really gutted to see that. He's had some great pace throughout the race, and we had a little battle ourselves with him last night, but we obviously don't want to see this happen.
No. Just listen to the audio down the pit lane. Clatter, clatter, clatter. Comes to a grinding halt. Richard, I think, knew that it was a big problem, stopped it as soon as he could, but yes, you can see it sort of jerking, can't you, as it comes to a halt there.
It's very hard to pick up exactly what's happened, but as you say, it's clatter, 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 and obviously the flames from behind, so I can't really tell exactly what's happened there, but it looks like it's game over for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, a big fire, and of course that in turn then blocked the pit lane exit. Now, a quick word about your car, because I know it's been a difficult race. You are still going, as you say, but what sort of dramas have you had to work your way through? We've seen you in the pit lane a fair few times as you've been developing the car and sorting everything out.
Well, as we all know, it's still very much in development, and considering that, I don't think we spent too much time in the pits at all. I think we're learning the car, and everything that we get from this race is going to be noted and put in the books, ready to be put on the car, ready for the next test. And like you say, we're just getting the best for our customers in 2012.
So it's the ideal circuit to test it at, of course. It's got just about everything. You've got the high-speed bits, you've got the fairly daunting bits as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to make out that Roger Wills, my teammate, gentleman driver this weekend, he has done an absolute fantastic job, especially on his last double stint. He's just got out of the car, and he was showing pace with the top 10 drivers. And that shows that the McLaren is so easy to drive, very competitive, and a big hats off to McLaren and CRS back at base.
This project that's come about, I mean, it is badged as McLaren, but CRS and Andrew Cocody, of course, has a major part in that, instrumental to the programme, aren't they?
Of course, yeah. I think obviously it's a good partnership. It's very much involved. CRS and everyone back at MTC. So I think they've really put a fantastic car together. As you can see, it's battling with the Audi R8 at the moment, and hats off. I think it looks fantastic. We've got so much good publicity from it this weekend, and a lot of fans are backing us out there.
It's Adam at the wheel, isn't it, at the moment?
It is Adam at the wheel. Just got an hour and a half to go, and he'll take the checker flag.
Excellent, okay. Just
hopefully.
Talk us around a lap of Spa, because now, of course, you've driven it in anger around here. Come out of the bus stop, straight onto the power.
Yeah, the car's got fantastic traction. We've got running the paddle shift system, again, which is absolutely brilliant. Coming down into turn 1, all the way from 5th gear down to 1st. The brakes with ABS are absolutely incredible, and now heading down into Eau Rouge, one of my favourite corners, a real driver's corner. Approaching the corner at a lot of speed, and in 5th gear, a little brake, and then back on the throttle all the way down to Camel Straight.
You can see as well on this part of the circuit all the amount of rubber that's by the side of the circuit. Of course, if you run offline, particularly in the dark, you're going to get your tyres in such a state.
Oh, massively. It's definitely, you've got to stay on your line. Like you've mentioned, as soon as you go off it, you've just got so many marbles. We've been racing nearly 23 hours now, and the amount of rubber that gets thrown off the tyres is pretty impressive. So definitely the key is to stay online and let the fast cars go around you.
I was going to say, in a situation like this where you're coming up on traffic, they've got to hold their line and you've got to go around them. Is that the
yeah,
best
for
option?
sure. Obviously, it's only mainly on the exit of the corners, so into kind of turn 1, or any other corners really, which are not so fast speed, it doesn't tend to collect so much rubber.
Let's just have a look at Andrew's moment of yesterday. I know it's not the sort of thing you necessarily want to see, but what it does illustrate is just how strong a car this is. Top left of the screen is where Andrew's moment is about to be revealed. He got tagged, didn't he, by a slower car, I think, coming out of the hairpin at the source. It was a big impact, that.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen it on TV, and definitely I was in the car myself when the accident happened, and for sure it was a big impact, and I don't know exactly what happened, but like you say, I think he got tagged from behind and just completely sent him into the inside barrier, and he was a passenger at that point.
But Andrew's okay. I mean, he's back at the circuit, bit sore, bit bruised, but he's now got his team principal hat on and he's looking after you guys.
For sure, yeah. We've got around 60 people on car 60 and 3 engineers, so a lot of people back at MTC as well, wanting this car to finish and show that McLaren have built a fantastic car along with CRS.
Excellent, Phil. Good luck for the rest of the race. Totally take the checkered flag. Let's find out quickly what happened to Richard Westbrook after his rather warm exit from the pit lane. He is down in the pit lane, and so too is Hayley Coxon.
Richard, I thought you would have needed a seat after that rather hot moment in the car. What happened with the Porsche?
Well, I didn't know, actually. It was just they were screaming down the radio, and they forgot I don't speak German, so luckily I knew there was something wrong. And yeah, that's it, game over. And I think we were 29 seconds behind the a podium finish in Pro-Am, and that's what we really wanted for everyone at Haribo. You sort of really feel like we deserve a result. We were fighting for the lead at the first few hours, and then we just hit problems one after the other. But we came back from 42nd to top 10, and then just right at the end where I was given the green light to go and push and get that podium, and didn't even make it out of the pit lane. So it's been a tough year, and looking forward to next year, if I'm really honest.
Certainly racking up the 24-hour races anyway, aren't you?
Yeah.
Really, you don't come in prepared. That's one way to do it.
You can tell it's near the end of the race, can't you, when it gets this crude? Finish at all costs, just get the car in the race.
Just get it in the race, hammer that door in. There'll be some tank tape comes out in a moment as well, yeah, there's the old faithful silver tape.
So that's a car, believe it or not, with the way it's being abused, that runs in the Gentleman Trophy. You wouldn't think it looking at that, would you? Not very gentlemanly at all.
It may not be running in the next race without a few more repairs, but we have to bear in mind as well, those mechanics, they've been up for 20 odd hours flat now, and many hours before that. They do a tremendous job, and I think all of the people involved in this kind of racing really do a sterling effort.
Here you are, gaffer tape's arrived, so the door's back on.
We were wrong, actually. It's white, not silver.
Oh, okay, well, yeah. It's late in the race. They've run out of silver. They've used all that. They have to get the spare reel out, I think, here. Mike Jordan's class lead is diminishing all the time. Gets out of the way to let the second-place BMW go through, but, of course, he doesn't want to compromise himself and let the Ferrari by as well. So, difficult situation this, but eventually Mike goes wide. Guillaume Moreau nips up the inside. That's going to give the Ferrari the class lead.
Well, I mean, one of those situations we get caught in traffic, and I think he probably left the door too open there, and BMW's going to get eaten up quite quickly as well by the speed of that Ferrari. But just reading the traffic again on a fast corner like that, you want to be a little bit cautious. Again, towards the end of the race, you do not want to make a driver error when you're only a couple of hours away from the finish. Very true.
So Guillaume Moreau about to go past the second place car. He's in 6th place, but of course running on a different lap because of earlier dramas in the race. Let's just go back to your car, brief as its inclusion in the race may have been, but it's been probably a great weekend for all you ex-F1 drivers getting together and having bit of a reminiscing session. Johnny was saying yesterday you were going down memory lane.
Oh, we've had a fantastic time, and myself and Johnny just came from the Nordschleife doing the 24 hours there, where we managed to get to 20 hours and then get packed up. But to be really fair, the enjoyment side of it is a big thing for us. We're doing this kind of racing. It's not going to change our career paths. We've had all of that in years gone by, but what we do is we have some good times, but with some professional racing and with some very competitive cars underneath us.
I was going to say, you are taking it seriously. You're not just playing at this. You're here to do well. You want to do well. You're doing everything to make sure of a good result.
No, 100%. We're here in a professional capacity, and very thankful that we've got good equipment with Audi, United Autosports, and some good partners on board. And again, I'm very thankful that I'm driving with the likes of people like Stephanie Johansson, Johnny Herbert, Eddie Cheever. Zach Brown, Mark Patterson, all these guys are on the amateur side, very high level. But to be back with some of your old sparring partners is great fun.
When's your next race?
My next race actually is in about 2 weeks' time. Grand Am race in Watkins Glen in the States.
And are you going to be persuaded to come back to Brands Hatch this year for the VW Sirocco race? Because that was a good race there. It was a good fun there.
VW have asked me.
Excellent. Is that a yes then?
I haven't said yes at this point. And I'm actually waiting to see who the other professional guys are going to be in there, and I'm trying to get Martin Brundle back here.
In the 11 years since it became a GT 24-hour race, and the Audi mechanics at Team WRT ready then for the last pit stop for 33. Timo Schreiber, I imagine, will stay behind the wheel, though as he explained to us earlier on, he had to do an extra stint that he wasn't expecting to do in the night, so he's had very, very little sleep. But as long as he's still alert and happy enough behind the wheel, they'll probably leave him in car 33 to take the checkered flag. Timo won this event when he drove with Mikhail Bartels and Eric van der Poel back in 2005 in the Maserati MC12. That was the first year the MC12 won the event. It's the first full season, in fact, as a GT1 car. But now very much part of the Audi factory. He has driven, of course, in the DTM, double champion, and was loaned out to a Porsche team last year as well. So, for this weekend, a GT3 racer, and by the look of what was going on in the pit lane, going to be a Belgian driver to bring the car home. Greg Franchi, I think, is getting ready now, suited and booted, to take over. Dramas continue, though, and that's 56, stranded by the side of the road. Marc Fagianato out of the Cup class for the Gentleman Trophy for the older spec Porsches. And Marc Fagianato has pulled off, heading down towards the right-hander campus, which goes past the educational building, educational centre, and it's ground to a halt. It's off the racing line, but I'm afraid to say that's a car that doesn't look like it's going anywhere for the moment. And 98 has been off the road as well. Andrea Piccini in the surviving car from Audi Sport Team Phoenix, getting it wrong at the bus stop, but Andrea Piccini continues in 12th place. Timo Scheider in the meantime goes up through Les Combes, and as he does so, now being able to run at a conservative pace, knowing that with 3 laps in hand he's not going to be caught. Problems now for 41, which is Jonathan Hershey, not going all that rapidly in the Ford GT. He was slow coming out of the bus stop, didn't pit. The car's improving its pace, look, as it goes down towards Eau Rouge now. Rattles over the curb as Jonathan Hershey, the former Swiss Formula Renault champion. They had a couple of years in the Eurocup Megane Trophy, became a GT racer last year. This car shared with Marcus Paltela and Antoine Leclerc, currently runs in 11th place. So whatever the problem was coming past the pits, looks like he's managed to get round it, and the car at a proper pace once more, heading now up towards Les Combes. Through the right, left, right, heading now down towards Bruxelles. And there's 33, race leader Timo Scheider. Car 32, the sister car of Felipe Albuquerque, under investigation for overtaking under yellow flags. So the story not yet over for 32, even though they're pushing on to try to catch the Mercedes of Thomas Jaeger. It may be that there's a penalty looming for the Portuguese racer. No such problems for Timo Scheider then, as he comes into Blanchimont now. Into the braking area for the bus stop. This car 3 laps up on the opposition, and in it comes. And I would imagine now that they're going to let, if there is a driver change, yes, Greg Franchi to take over. It would be a very popular finish, I think, that a Belgian team with a Belgian driver behind the wheel to bring the car home into the last 45 minutes. And Greg Franchi, not as well credentialed as his 2 co-drivers, but is an ever-improving young driver and has been an integral part of the Belgian Audi Club attack on the Blancpain Endurance Series this year, as well as racing in the European GT3 Championship. So he understands the cars, he knows the discipline, that's for sure. And Greg Franchi steps forward, and Timo Scheider is not for getting out of the car, is he? Or is he? No, he's happy to continue. Greg Franchi says, do you want me to take over, or are you okay? Timo says, no, I'm good to go, thanks. So I think Greg was on standby more than anything, perhaps then, in case Timo Scheider was feeling particularly weary. He seems to have spent most of the race driving the car. So he says, no, I'm okay. So Greg Franchi denied, therefore, the chance of bringing it home. Interesting decision, that. But Timo Scheider was certainly not budging, was he? New tyres being brought out. Timo, former winner of the event, Matthias Extra, having his first Spa 24 hours, set for a victory. His first in a 24-hour race, despite the fact he's done the Nürburgring 24 hours. I think his best result in that's been a 5th, most recently in fact. But it looks like a win will come at Spa. A circuit he's not raced at since about 2005 when he last raced here in the DTM. And Timo Scheider, in a moment or two, is going to rejoin once the new Michelins have gone on the car and it's been dropped down off the jacks. Been another great weekend at Spa for this year's 24 hours, over 60,000 spectators. I've enjoyed the action, and a quick check at the front to make sure that there's no debris in the radiator that's going to make the car overheat. And again, with so much time in hand, they can easily afford to just take a little bit more time to make sure that all is well. And so engine fires up and the car now leaves the pit lane with 43 minutes of the race remaining effectively now for Timo Scheider. Last pit stop done. All they have to do now is sit and wait. So he makes his way down the pit road. There you can see car number 124 with all the sticky tape on the door. That was the Porsche we saw being attacked by a hammer to try and straighten out some damage. They've taped up the door, And this car now in the hands of Sebastian Asch, running in 20th place. It's second in its class as well, and it is a lap down on its class rival, but it is lapping quicker. Lots of time was lost early on with a big gearbox problem, having had a very comfortable class lead, but the good news is Milner Motorsport have got it back into the race, and so Sebastian Asch lapping quicker than the class rival Porsche ahead, number 19, which is currently being driven by Mathies Hakema. Can it catch in 42 minutes of the race? I suspect not now. The gap's probably just too wide. The damage to that car, meaning that the Porsche, when it gets to its next pit stop, is going to have a bit more TLC on the driver's side door. And as we get towards the conclusion of the 24 hours of Spa, a man I'm sure who would much rather be out on the circuit has joined me in the commentary booth, and that is Michael Bartels. And let's give that for Michael. And first of all, commiserate, because a race that had so much potential for you with the new Ferrari 458, but you've had all sorts of problems, I know.
Well, it started already with some problems on Thursday in the qualification runs, and but in the race we found a good rhythm, a strong rhythm. We could move quickly up to the top 5, and then we are running basically consistently in the direction of a possible podium finish, until then the black flag came.
Just go back one stage. Andrea brought the car in, Louis took over, but what was going on that brought the car in? We saw engineers with the computers and looking into the engine. What was that problem?
There was an alarm on the display, showing fuel pressure, and we came in to check it, and then people connected their laptops and data analyzing systems, and there then I think was a mistake to fire up the car when it was up in the air, and this is why we got the stop and go or drive-through penalty.
Yeah.
And this was then the job of Louis to come in, and
but he could not hear you. He had a radio
There was
problem.
a radio problem. It was working in the beginning. Then, for some reason, the radio connection was not anymore there to the driver and opposite. And we tried to show him everything. Also, of course, the race director or the people on the start-finish line showed him drive through. And I think he was so concentrated and focused on his stint that he didn't see it.
Sure.
And he didn't see because if you are early in the stint, you are not taking care about so much, about how many laps to go. But you look in the end.
Sure. And this was the black flag, your team waving him in. You had the pit boards, the lights on the board as well. But as you say, so focused was Louis that he just didn't see.
Yeah, it's a shame, because he did really a great job, but this kind of mistakes, we learn from it. We try to, of course, prepare in the future things even better to avoid this kind of problems or misunderstandings. And from there we try to approach our next goals.
When the black flag was coming out, did you have a chance to go to see your friend Eduardo Freitas, the race director, to say, no, please don't, we have a genuine reason for not taking the penalty, we have this problem, or was it too late? It was a decision made by the officials.
It was too late.
Yeah.
Once the black flag is out. And it was just, I think, there was no space to discuss, because it was 7 laps. And we have to take it like it is. Of course, it's very sad for all of us, because with a new project like this coming here to Spa, the car was touched ground first time 4 months ago in Adria for first rollout, and after 4 months we worked hard on reliability. And we didn't get the car on the podium now, but one of our cars with Kechele, Bobby and Petrobelli is running in 5th position. They did a very good job.
You said to me at Navarra when you won, we've proved we can be reliable for 3 hours, now we need just another 21 of reliability. Well, the car is still there. It's going to finish.
Yeah, and there are some other Ferraris in the top 10. We have on 6th place the French team, and then we have, of course, in 9th place. So we were not absolutely, of course, on the level of Audi here, but I think Audi drove here in a really amazing performance, which nobody could stay with. This means, of course, we have to keep on doing our homework. Next race is 4 weeks away. It looks like it's a long time, but it's around the corner, basically. After, you have to prepare now a lot of things. After the race of Spa, the car needs to be rebuilt. But we are looking forward to go to Magny-Cours, and I think we learned a lot about the car here again. And we tried to bring it on the next level of performance for the next 2 races in the Blancpain series.
Excellent, Michael. We look forward to seeing you at Magny-Cours. Thanks very much indeed. And commiserations once again to Vita 4-1 Racing. So Michael Bartels, disappointing for him, out of the race, but as he says, Audi has done a quite stunning job in this race. And of course, overseeing all of this in the pit lane is Wolfgang Ulrich. And we heard from him early on in the race. It's time we caught up with Wolfgang Ulrich as we're into the last 36 minutes. He's in the pit lane talking to Haley.
Dr. Ulrich, it's been quite the 24 hours for the two teams. You must be proud.
Yeah, until now it's running good, but there is another more than half an hour to go. And I have really learned that 24 hours not over before the real end. Therefore, okay, we're in 2 good positions at present. The car number 33 is in the lead, and the car number 32 is at present in 4th place. Tries to catch up for 3rd, which I think is theoretically even very difficult, but you never know what happens. Important that there is no issue coming, that the guys that are in the cars just take it safe and drive it home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Wolfgang Ulrich knows all about 24-hour races, be it Le Mans, now Spa, be it the Nürburgring 24. Hugely experienced, and of course the man that has done so much to change the image of Audi through motorsport into a must-have brand these days. And with 33, Timo Scheider leading the way. We're 35 minutes away from the checkered flag. Are we 35 minutes away from an Audi win? Well, tempts fate to say just how well this car has gone, but it has just gone like clockwork. You're on board with 33, Timo Scheider. Let's ride with him. Climbing up towards Les Combes, speed building all the time, and as he comes now into the braking zone, watch his feet, watch his hands on the brakes, down to that paddle shift box, through the right, through the left, through the right, out now of Les Combes, down to Bruxelles, rides the curve, and when you look from the outside you think yes, he's going at a fairly reduced pace now just to get to the end. You go on board and you see still how much commitment is being put in. Scheider goes now through Pont, a corner everybody loves at the Spa circuit. You've got to be brave to do it at the right speed, but it is a very fast corner. And now into the pit path with traffic ahead. Looks like that might be the Ecuria Cars Aston Martin that's going to be negotiated first of all, but in a moment the gap will open up, and yep, the Aston pulls to one side. It's Andrew Smith at the wheel of the car, so that goes a lap down on the race leader. It's in 21st place at the moment, the Cars Aston. And there are 1 or 2 rather weary people in the Belgian Audi Club garage. Vincent Vos, the team manager, himself a very successful Belgian racer, but these days concentrating on running cars and running teams. Doesn't do quite as much racing as he used to, but all the mechanics now coming out on parade with their cars 1st and 4th. And in 12th is the surviving Audi from Team Phoenix, which has got at the moment Andrea Piccini at the wheel. Timo Scheider, it's 531 laps done, and of course this is the car that leads to the Pro Cup. In the Pro-Am Cup now, there is a lap still between the leading Ferrari and the second placed Mercedes, but I still think that the Pressy Spark squad are going to be delighted with second place in class. It'll be a great effort for them, that great achievement. There's the leading car then as it goes through Eau Rouge.